And welcome back to Subculture on CentralCoastRadio.com. Well, we have a very, very special guest on the line right now. Walter Trout is somebody who needs no introduction on this show, and we've been very lucky enough to be able to get him on the phone today because he's been in the studio all day working on his new album, but he's joining us right now on the show to chat about his upcoming Australian tour. Welcome to the program, Walter.
Well, hey, it's great to be here, Dave. Thanks for having me, man.
Now, mate, I've got to say, my heart skipped a beat and I got very excited when I heard that you'd been working in the studio today on a brand new album. How is that all going?
Well, I can be perfectly honest here and say that last night I actually finished it. I sang the final song in the studio in Los Angeles. The final song was mixed, and as we speak, right now, at this moment, the album is being mastered in Los Angeles. And in 2 days, I go back up to LA and I do a photo shoot for the album cover. So it's pretty much done, and it's been a lot of work, but I'm very excited about it.
What's that moment like when you sing the last line of an album when you're recording? Is it a sense of relief, or how do you feel when you've done that final track?
There is relief, but there is also, I wish I could go back and maybe sing that song differently, or I wish I'd have played a different solo on that song. You have to get to the point where, you could keep doing stuff over and over, and it's probably not going to get better. It might be different, but not necessarily better. And there was a great American classical composer named Aaron Copland, and he wrote a book about music that I read when I was a kid. And one of his quotes was, "A piece that you're working on is never finished. You just get to the point where it's time to move on."
Yep.
But I'm very happy with this record. I listen to it and go, okay, this is about the best I have to give here. And I have a few special guests on this record, which unfortunately I can't tell you about right now. But I'm pretty excited about this album. I think it's some of my best work ever.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to be able to hear that. And it's funny that you talk about wanting to go back and re-record tracks, because I heard a lot of artists struggled with that over COVID because their record label were holding up albums and they had extra time. They kept on going back and re-recording tracks for albums because they just had so much time up their sleeve when the label weren't expecting an album straight away. Is that something that you've found in the past as well? If you have too much time, you are tempted to go back and re-record?
Well, yeah, except for those 2 years of COVID, I've never had too much time because I've done an album a year for the last, over 30 years. This new one's album number 31 for me, and I tour constantly, but during COVID, I understand what they're talking about, because if you're kind of a driven musician and you're just driven to create and you're forced to sit on the couch for a couple of years, it's pretty brutal on the psyche. I actually did an album during COVID. The album, what was it? Ordinary Madness. I did that during COVID.
Yep. So, of course, the other thing that we all missed out on during COVID was tours, but we've got you coming down under for this amazing tour. How do you feel about heading back to Australia?
Oh, I am excited. I have played there so much, and I have to say, some of the greatest times of my life, when I look back on my 54-year career, some of the most fun I ever had was when I used to tour Australia with Canned Heat back in like 1981, and with John Mayall starting in 85. And some of those Canned Heat tours, I just had the time of my life. We would come to Australia sometimes for almost 3 months at a time. and we would play every single venue in that country. And I just had a ball, and I made a lot of great friends, and I'm looking forward to seeing them.
What is it that made you have such a great time here? Was it the people? Was it the food, the nightlife? What was it that made you fall in love with Australia so much?
It was a little of all of that, and I do have to say I was young, I was not sober, and I was single. And I think you can put two and two together. Some of those tours were living the rock and roll lifestyle to the ultimate. I don't know. Some of those tours might have been the reason I had to get a liver transplant 10 years ago. But man, I had a great time.
Yeah,
I look back on those tours like just they were golden years to me.
We're all a little older now and a little bit calmer. What are you looking forward to doing outside of the shows in Australia this time around?
Well, I have, like I say, I have a lot of friends there. I know I have fans there that come to my shows, and they just treat us great, and they give us an incredible welcome back to the country. And but also it's just beautiful. Some of the cities we go to are beautiful. And I'm really excited to get back. I have such great memories there, and really some great friends that have been my friends since those Can't Eat tours, and we've all kind of survived and gotten sober and gotten a little older and a little wiser, I think. But it's great to get together and reminisce, and so we're going to have a good time down there, and I'm bringing a killer band this time.
That was actually my next question. You have put together an amazing group of musicians, including your son, John. Tell us a little bit about that band and what we can expect from them on this tour.
Well, of course, my son, John, is coming with us, and he'll be playing guitar and singing, and he's an incredible guitar player. Technically, he can play Rings Around Me, but I was never one worried about technique, but he can do all this technical stuff that I have no idea how to do. And but this time on the bass, I'm bringing iconic fella named John Avila. Do you remember a L.A. band called Oingo Boingo?
Yes, yep.
Well, he's the bass player from there, and he's also recorded and toured with people like Steve Vai, Neil Young, Bob Dylan. He's amazing. He's like a firecracker up there. And then I'm going to have my longtime drummer, Michael Leisure, who's been with me 16 years and has been on probably the last 10 albums I've done. And then on keyboard, I'm bringing Richard T. Bear, who's a partner of Stephen Stills and who played keys with Crosby, Stills, and Nash for a long time. And these guys are stellar musicians, and the band is killing right now.
What I wanted to ask as well about your set list, you've got 34 years of music behind you. Like you said, you've just worked on your 31st album. How difficult is it now to put together a set list when you come to a country like Australia with so many amazing tracks in your back catalogue?
That sometimes it's kind of a problem, and what I tend to do, because I've really done an album a year every year, is I try to concentrate on the songs from the latest album, but I also like to go back through the years and do some older stuff, and I like to do some cover tunes once in a while, maybe a Dylan tune or an old blues song, and it's always difficult. You got a 2-hour set there, and a lot of times I'll get messages, hey, we came to see you and you didn't play this or you didn't play that, and I want to go, I've recorded 300 original songs, and I just can't do them all in one night,
Definitely. Well, we are running out of time very, very quickly. I know you've got other interviews to get to, so I'd like to ask before I go, what would you like to say to all of your fans out there who are buying tickets for these amazing shows? I know Melbourne sold out and you had to have a second Melbourne show. So what would you like to say to all the fans out there who are buying tickets for these amazing shows?
We are all very excited to get back there, and I promise you, I'm bringing a killer band. And we're going to be so excited to play for the Australian people again. And we're going to give you guys the best we've got. And I think you're going to see quite a show. I'm bringing a very high energy, stellar group of players. And I think we're going to kick some ass. I think.